hour last night. The Phoenix Suns, they fell to the Memphis Grizzlies on the road. Almost had it. Almost had a game that they could steal. We've asked them during this road trip, hey, beat Dallas and then steal me one game. They almost stole one in Denver. That would have literally been a robbery. That would have been, had no business winning that game, and we somehow won it. Erased a 20-point deficit on the road in Denver at altitude. Had no business even coming close to winning that game. That would have been a robbery. Last night, you got off to an excellent start. You got off to, what was it, a 25-9, 22-9 start to the basketball game, and you thought, oh, man, this is going to be something different. Yeah, 25-9 start with 3:49 to go in the first quarter. The Suns just, they had it. Everything was clicking. They were playing good basketball. Durant, Booker going early. They were playing a motivated brand of basketball. And you thought that they were going to ride that early start, that they were going to ride that early momentum and win a game against a shorthanded Memphis team. That's what you thought was going to happen. It didn't. Ended up losing by 2. Durant misses a 3 as time expires. That would have won the game. And now this team sits 30-35, 5 games below 500, just trying to keep pace with Dallas, who beat the San Antonio Spurs. Dallas also played the day before. They were fine. They had some energy left in the tank. They won that game, 133-129 over the San Antonio Spurs. So you had a chance to keep pace. Instead, you gave a game away to Dallas in the standings because of that. And I want to talk about Coach Mike Budenholzer right now because, again, I think all of this is fake. I think we're just trying to convince ourselves to be somewhat positive about the remaining games left on this schedule, to not completely punt with 15, 20 games to go. And, you know, that's a long time to go with the basketball season being basically over. And so I think this run that we're seeing that it is potentially there for them to close in on Dallas and be the 10 seed and get into the play-in tournament, I think it's fake. I don't think it's real. I think we're just trying to give ourselves anything to hold on to make the season worth watching. But if it is real, if they are going to make a run for Dallas, you can't have the coaching malpractice that we saw last night. Because I need somebody to explain to me what Ryan Dunn did to Mike Budenholzer to where he's only checking in at the end of halves as a defensive replacement for one possession. Because that happened again at the end of the game last night where Ryan Dunn was subbed in to help the Suns on the defensive side of the floor. What are we doing? Ryan Dunn didn't accidentally become a rising star and got to go to All-Star Weekend. He didn't board the wrong flight and end up in Golden State and they said, oh, you know what? Since you're here, we'll invite you to the Rising Star game. No, he was invited. He was listed as a rising star. Got to play on All-Star Sunday. That didn't happen on accident. Why was Ryan Dunn there? Because of the value he provided on the defensive side of the floor. And Mike Budenholzer has completely just given up on playing any semblance of quality defense. You saw it again last night. Durant picked up a couple of fouls early. And again, I thought it was a vintage Durant performance on the offensive side. But he picked up a couple of fouls early, had to kind of manage it the rest of the game. And the defense suffered. He kind of left some open lanes to the basket because you don't want to pick up that fourth foul and have to go sit down. Wouldn't have helped to have Ryan Dunn so that maybe we're not allowing open shots over and over and over again to Memphis or to Denver like we did the other night? I need somebody to sit me down and explain to me why Ryan Dunn isn't playing. I don't know if I missed something here during this journey of him being a rising star to now all of a sudden not playing at all in these basketball games, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to get the exact figure here to prove a point. The 27 seconds that he played the other night or last night is not acceptable. You can't tell me that Ryan Dunn is that bad offensively that he needs to be pinned to the bench and play 27 seconds. Michael in the chat says the Suns are burning out KD and Book. You're burning those guys out with the heavy minutes that they played. Again, Devin Booker, 40 minutes last night. Kevin Durant, 41 minutes last night. What do you think this is going to look like against Houston on Wednesday when you've just added another 40-minute night? They only played 38 minutes against Dallas on Sunday. Ooh. 40 minutes plus for both of those guys against the Clippers. 40 minutes plus for those guys in Denver. And you don't have Bradley Beal. You're managing this calf issue. You played 38 minutes against Dallas. You both played over 40 minutes last night because you don't have anybody else. Because for whatever reason, Ryan Dunn can't play for you. Colin Gillespie got 13 minutes last night. That's great. But I need somebody to sit down and explain to me that the best defender on this team doesn't play. I need somebody to sit me down and say that in the 20 minutes that he played and that he had 10 points and 12 rebounds, including 2 on the offensive side, why Nick Richards barely played late in this game. Does anybody know how many minutes and seconds that Nick Richards played in the fourth quarter of yesterday's game? Anybody tell me? Without looking it up, can anybody tell me how many minutes Nick Richards played in the fourth quarter of that game after in the 20 minutes that he played the entire game had a double-double? If your answer was 0 minutes and 0 seconds, call producer Corey and collect your prize. Nick Richards had a double-double in 20 minutes through 3 quarters and then didn't play in the fourth quarter. I need somebody to explain that to me. Because you know what Nick Richards also provided to go along with the double-double in the 20 minutes that he played? Did you see the edge that he played with? Did you see, and it was a clean play, but did you see the screen that he set that kind of bothered Memphis a little bit? Did you see the technical that he got at the other end? Did you see the energy and the intensity and that little chip on the shoulder that he was playing with? You know, the thing that most of the rest of the team doesn't have? The reason why we want Colin Gillespie to play more minutes? Yeah, that. You could have used that in the fourth quarter when this game was getting close. You could have used that in the fourth quarter to shore up some rebounds. Listen, I'm not taking anything away from Mason Plumlee in this game, but I don't need to see Mason Plumlee down the stretch. And not to say Mason Plumlee was bad, but Nick Richards, 20 minutes, a double-double, playing well, providing that little edge, just getting under the skin a little bit. And that's what you brought him here for. You brought Nick Richards here to be a rim protector. You brought him here to be a rebounder. You needed a different kind of center. You were not liking what you were getting from the center position with Yusuf Nurkic, right? Have to make this trade, have to upgrade our center position. And then you get the guy, and in 20 minutes, he gives you everything that you would want from him at that position. And how do you reward that? He sits on the bench for the fourth quarter. He doesn't play in crunch time. Mason Plumlee played 11 minutes and 5 seconds. Now, he scored 6 points and had 4 rebounds in that fourth quarter. Again, I'm not trying to take anything away from Mason Plumlee, but we know what Mason Plumlee is. You at some times got to ride the hot hand. And last night, Nick Richards was the hot hand. Ryan Dunn can't play. Colin Gillespie plays a little bit last night, but after the big game against the Clippers, immediately gets repinned to the bench. Ryan Dunn, nowhere to be seen. 27 seconds. Can't see any action after being a rising star this season. And Nick Richards with a double-double. There's no rewarding of good play. There's no rewarding outside of the star players of if you do well, we'll increase your role. If you thrive in this capacity, we'll increase your role. I've got 3 examples. Ryan Dunn, Colin Gillespie, Nick Richards. Where is the reward for playing as well as those guys have played recently? Or in Ryan Dunn's case, for the first half of the season. Where is it? Can somebody point it out to me? Because it doesn't exist. And yet, Coach Bud's going to roll out the same group every night and get these same results. You're 5 games below 500. You think maybe playing some of your better defenders, your best defensive player makes some sense? You think playing the guy who had a double-double in 20 minutes through 3 quarters and was providing you something that, I'm sorry, the rest of the team doesn't give you? Kevin Durant was getting into it with Memphis last night. But other than that, who's giving that to you? Who's playing with that little edge? And you really don't want KD and Book to do that because you don't want them picking up stupid fouls. That's what Nick Richards is there to do. He's there to be the pest. That's what Colin Gillespie is there to do. He's there to be the pest. And yet you don't reward the good play that those guys have. You are actively sabotaging your own team. You've got 3 young players. These are 3 young players that might be on this team next season. And you want to be the coach next year? You want me to trust that you're going to utilize those players next season? I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. I'm concerned about what we're seeing from this coach. And this has been going on all year long. Over and over again. And we just add examples to the ledger. Coach Mike Budenholzer is actively sabotaging this team. I don't know how else to describe it. Your best defender sitting on the bench. Nick Richards, a double-double in 20 minutes, just doesn't play in the fourth quarter. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's not like he was in foul trouble. Nick Richards picked up 3 fouls the whole game. You can't find him a couple of minutes? I just don't understand. These moves I don't agree with. These moves, they make no sense. And it's not a surprise that the season is going the way that it is for this team.